I'm a virtuality artist.
I play the vibraphone.
I'm interested in speculative fiction.
I'm a sculptor.
I play the bass.
Interdisciplinary artist.
I'm an opera singer, oil painter.
And I'm a creative writing fellow at Luminarts.
I'm a Luminarts fellow.
I kind of didn't expect to be as nervous as I was.
Definitely nerve-wracking, like your heart's beating or you're anticipating.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
To experience that level of musicianship in that room, it's like, wow, okay, I gotta step up my game here.
I was just shocked. I didn't really believe it at first.
First of all, I thought it was a scam.
Basically started crying.
I got an email and it was like, really?
I was really surprised. I kind of didn't believe it at first.
So English is not my first language, so I was like, maybe I read it wrong, so let me read it again.
Totally surprised, and I remember that I went up on stage and hugged the juror, Nick Kane, because I was just so excited.
I remember hearing the different aspects of what goes into a Luminarts fellowship and thinking to myself, like, half of these things I didn't even know were a part of this award, and like, those sound amazing.
There's so many no's in the world of writing and art in general that one yes is actually life-changing.
My name's Thomas Caminito.
Justin Copeland.
Emma Dayhuff.
Leonard Simpson.
Thaddeus Tukes.
I've been playing the trumpet for about 15 years now, and every day is different.
There's so many possibilities with playing the saxophone. It's partially why everybody sounds different.
Initially as a kid, I really wanted to play bassoon. My band program didn't have one, so my band director moved me to sax, and I took to that like real quick. And within a few months, I was playing gigs with a goofy little funk band.
I've always liked the fact that the bass is a supportive instrument. The longer I played the bass, the more I realized what a big responsibility it is and how much control I actually do have over everything and everybody on stage.
The vibraphone can be very flashy and in your face, and then it can also just fade back and support. And I think I'm very much that kind of person. I can just be a strong presence, but I'm also very shy.
Jazz is one of those things where there's so much structure, but at the same time, there's kind of a ridiculous amount of freedom or breaking of that structure.
There's boundaries, but not really boundaries to express yourself.
Music is a language, quite literally, in the sense that you do have to learn specific nomenclature and notation, but it's also a language in that it does express something that is beyond the medium that you're using to convey an idea.
Just to be able to express yourself to somebody without words, you know, that's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Jazz is a mindset that has influenced how I approach life so much. A lot of things teach you to think vertically, like you're at this point, then you go to this point, then you go to this point.
It's not just strictly within itself. It does apply a lot to just the way that we interact with each other.
Jazz has taught me to think horizontally, so I'm thinking like, if I do this in music, how does it affect writing? How will it affect businesses? How will that affect politics?
At this point, what I'm trying to do is to create a type of sound that nobody's ever heard before.
I think I've always had kind of a tendency to underestimate myself. There are people that I'm playing with now that are just like, man, they're just incredible musicians.
I'm basically doing a lot of the things on the trumpet that I only dreamed I would do.
I'm proud of what I'm doing. I know the impact it's had on me, and my thought is like, well, why isn't everyone doing this?
There's been a lot of negative energy in this country lately, specifically regarding race and gender. When the music is happening, it transcends all of that. If someone leaves with a smile on their face that they didn't have when they came in, I guess that's the ultimate goal.
My name is Daniel Campanova.
Raymond Deeren.
Carly Gomez. Sammy Skolmoski.
Brett Slazak.
I've always been just fascinated with language ever since, you know, the first words I could say and the ways in which we communicate with each other as people. Neither of my parents are writers, but I was brought up with that ability to look at a situation and sort of dissect it and pick apart what people must be thinking. As a writer, I'm really interested in doing a lot of research and, you know, looking at maps and atlases. I think my favorite stories are the ones where the place is so vibrant, it's almost like a second driving force in the story. 5-10 years from now, the ideal situation would be to be a working artist, you know, whether that means contributing to journals or magazine pieces or teaching somewhere. I'm always trying to extend myself a bit farther. I really enjoy sharing what I know with other people who are interested in trying to push outside of themselves a bit too.
I'm from a small town called Cairo, Michigan. It's kind of a geographic dead end. It's very working class, rural areas, and that kind of motivates me. The writing that I like the most is moments that were rewritten the ways that they could never possibly be. I believe fiction comes from real life. As a writer, you get to mold these moments that were so minuscule, you get to relive them and maybe play them off as something that they could have been, something that you wanted them to be. I'm actually doing everything I came to Chicago to do. I'm teaching, I'm writing, I'm reading, I'm creating a writing community. I'm nowhere where I thought I would be in 5 years.
I think for a writer, part of what's really important is being an observer. You can't only write when motivation hits, you have to be writing every day. I'm particularly interested in social issues and social justice. Speculative fiction, I feel like, can be a great vehicle for discussing social change and social progress. It sort of holds a mirror up to ourselves. For example, the speculative fiction book that I'm working on is set in the future and it's working towards a gender-neutral utopia. I actually learned to read a little bit later in life, and I wasn't a very good writer in the beginning at all. I'd love to help other people establish a voice and help them be creative as well.
My writing practice is very attuned to collecting things that fascinate or shimmer in my life. So I even literally keep a notebook where I write down either bits of words or little drawings or little experiences that I have throughout the day. Anything that shimmers and delights goes in the notebook. Having these collected items to work off of gives endless material for me to, riff on or explore further through writing. It's kind of a way for me to collect and absorb everything around me. My goal as an artist is to eventually have enough doors opening for me where I can stand back and open the door and let some other people through. Lumen Arts isn't just helping me directly, it's helping future artists down the line as well, which means a lot to me.
I think of writing kind of as almost as a sort of offering. It's the form that feels most natural to me. I was a Peace Corps volunteer from 2010 to 2012 in the Republic of Cape Verde, and I taught English as a foreign language there in a secondary school. I've been working on a travel memoir about my experience there. The dream for me is definitely to finish this book, to have it published, and to spend my life as a writer. To win this award, it kind of validates some of the work that I've been doing, and it's hopefully the start to a long career in writing.
I'm Kayla Anderson.
Jeffrey Michael Austin.
I'm Lily Dithridge.
Patrick Segura.
Kyle Surgis.
All of my work revolves around the relationship between people and objects, or people and images of objects. Mostly my work expresses itself in video installations, sometimes sculpture, sometimes print media. I always convert physical objects into images and then myself into an image so that we're sort of acting on the same plane. I approach them as being, animate objects, even though often we look at them as inanimate. There's no clear distinction between myself as artist manipulating an object. That object also manipulates my image through video and animation. At least where I am now in my career, I don't really sell that much work. I make work that's really just about getting it out there for people to experience, so this award really helps me to do that. It's helping me rent a bigger space, to make bigger works of installation, as well as just providing extra community and support.
Most of my work utilizes a method of trying to sort of personify inanimate or organic materials. I guess the goal of that ultimately being to just generate empathy, to set these materials up in a way that sort of provokes empathy in the person approaching them. I think the attraction of the large-scale installation to me is that those moments that I'm typically looking for in my own life are the ones where I'm feeling sort of immersed by the environment around me. In some way, I think an installation practice is an attempt at recreating that sensation. As a young white male, I don't think I'm interested in making work about my struggle. as much as I'm interested about observing the opportunities I see in the world for empathy to take place.
I work a lot with found objects, and particularly the furniture form. I play with the expectation that the audience has that a furniture form has utility. So by disrupting that and changing the utility or removing it altogether, I force the audience to look at the object in a new way. It is really important for me, especially working in furniture, to sort of respect the tradition of craftsmanship. I like to find a balance between showing my hand in altering the work, but also having the piece just sort of stand in a way where you wouldn't immediately see an artist's intervention. I think that part of what I try and elicit with my work is this re-understanding of the space that you're in. So you take a moment in your day to think about something that you completely look over. Even if it's just a playful moment of, oh, look at this weird object, which is what some people get out of it, but also really just coming to appreciate the things around you and the relationships that there are.
Most of my work is all centered around the idea of play. A part of my life that's been a part of my life for a long time is being a competitive video gamer. A lot of projects have come out from the idea of tournaments and competitive play. There's also performance mixed into it, sculpture, and so it's really a lot of disciplines all into one, but centered around the idea of a virtual experience. It's kind of weird even calling it a game. I think it's a useful term for describing it to people, but there is no objective in the virtual space. It's just pure exploration. It's a way to become an other self and not necessarily to leave your original self, but to exist simultaneously. I think it's an extremely intimate thing to compete one-on-one with somebody.
Sometimes my work gets a little confused with photographs. People are usually surprised when they find out it's a painting. The first thing you'll notice it is really detailed. I guess you could call it hyperrealism or trompe-l'oeil painting. If there's any detail in an object, it's going to show up in my painting. The shallower depth, the more real you can make it look. So if you paint like a piece of tape, it looks very realistic. That's part of the entertainment of the painting. Depending on the piece, it generally takes me 300 to 500 hours. I just really enjoy painting, and my goal is to beat the camera. Jesse Donner, Daniel Glenn,
John Tsai.
My name is Jialan Wu.
I remember the time when I realized that this is what I wanted to do. It was the scariest moment of my life. The moment for me was looking at the audience and watching people closing their eyes, and I could feel that they were experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing. And that was the aha moment for me. I was like, yeah, this is it.
I originally went to school to be an aerospace engineer, but I didn't feel like I had the capacity to set the world on fire with computer programming and models and stuff like that. For the first time, my goal became to find overall satisfaction in life that was not quantifiable.
You know, nobody's really born with an oboe in their hands or grows up saying, I want to play the oboe. My mom was a music teacher, and she was also a traditional Irish folk musician. So I started playing the Irish tin whistle when I was 6 years old, and I was also really into making small model airplanes. And she knew that there was a lot of reed making that was required of oboists, but it ended up being a pretty good fit.
I was born in China, and the most children in China, they either choose violin or piano to study. So I picked piano because I guess that was the mainstream. But the more I played it, the more I felt it speaks to me, and I can actually explore the power of it.
The reason was pretty simple in the beginning. I started with piano, and my older sister was learning violin at the same time, so I kind of just wanted to do what she did. But then it turned out that I like the violin sound much more than piano. It has this unique sound, and I feel I can make more changes to it.
It's the only place for me where I don't think about the sadness and the anger and the wars and everything that is going on. I think it's the most peaceful place where I think everybody should go.
When you as a performer can connect with an audience and you get them to open up, and you do that with your own expressiveness and honesty and passion, then you've contributed something good to the world, I think.
We're discovering the intricacies of all these other wonderfully advanced aspects of society through technology and music. You know, it affects us, but we don't know why it affects us. And I think that's what's really special about it.
The more I explore, the more actually I find out. It's kind of like an infinite pool that I can keep on exploring, maybe for the rest of my life.
The only thing I'm sure is I want to perform.
I'm working hard and waiting for my break.
My grandmother doesn't believe that you can have a career as a singer or as an artist. But then when I won the competition, I went back home and I started building her a house. And she was like, so this is a real job.
When you make that commitment to be an artist, you know that there are going to be lean times.
Right now, I am a full-time student and I work 6 jobs. It's so hard to make time for work when you have to work all the time on other things.
A lot of us have to fight for our art. We have to fight to be taken seriously. And Lumen Arts reminds us that we have an organization that's fighting with us and fighting to support this future.
I have people around me who are telling me it's possible.
It just pushes me even further because now being a fellow means I have somebody backing me up.
It just made the dream feel very possible.
In March, my wife gave birth to our first daughter. We're going to spend so much time apart from each other if my career goes the way that it very well could. The Lumen Arts competition has made it so I can have family while I'm pursuing my career.
Sometimes it just takes the people around you believing in you a little bit more than you believe in yourself.
You can't put a price on that. You can't equate that with a dollar amount.
I mean, I'm just kind of starstruck right now, but it's kind of great. It's kind of awesome. Words. If I knew how to work with words, I'd have them to say.